African leaders, I'm here once again for you. We gave you 100% of the resources in our respective countries. I said we gave you 100% control over all the resources that are in the country. That was not enough. We gave you 100% control over the taxing, all the tax that is collected all over the country. But what did you pay back? Substandard infrastructure, corruption, because we feed you, we pay for your children, we pay for everything that you would ever need in life. That anything that we wake up to go and look for in life every day, we give it to you for free on a silver plate, just to execute simple tasks for the rest of us. What do? That's not enough. You go ahead and steal every other portion that is left for our hospitals, medical centers. We even do not have the basics, water, shelter. You can't even give us that. You cannot provide that to the citizens. And if anyone stands up and asks why, do you know what you pay back to those people? Beatings. You pay back by illegally detaining, raping children and women, sodomizing men, torture that is terrible. I don't really understand what is wrong with our African black leaders. Because all the time you try to convince us that actually the European rule that we read in the books was far better than you. Because when they came, they took the call, they took everything. They give us schools, they give us hospitals, they give us everything that was functioning. Transport systems that did function. Now they gave you the capacity to lead us. You become the middleman. You are still selling the same things they took to them. But after selling the copper, the gold, and everything, what do we have? What do you give back? What do you give back to the black fellows? Nothing. You cannot even provide the list. That always hits my brain all the time. It really hits my heart. That what is really wrong? What went wrong with our African leaders? Because we were supposed to be really proud that when our great-grandfathers actually fought against the European rule, we would have better, because they were fighting that the portion that was left, because we had a little bit of schools, we had a little bit of hospitals, we had a little bit of transport. We thought when our great-grandfathers fought against them, because they had to go, they had to stand. They had to stand, not to go to the sugarcane plantations, not to go to the copper mines, gold mines, and say, no, we need to liberate actually the nation, so that the rest of the people that would come thereafter would enjoy. But it hits my mind, to my surprise, what they used to take, they used to tell the gold, the copper, the diamond, and all the rest. You still sell it to them. Now you've become the middleman. But what do you give back? You cannot even give good drinking water to people that is consistent. Give it 1 week, the other week there's no water. You cannot provide health care, the basic. What have you subjected to the blacks today? They have ended up going in exile. We have seen the rest of the world wanting to come to Africa, and Africans want to go away from Africa because why? It is simple. Leno Muhammad. It is simple because the leaders that we have in Africa basically look at the fellow people as commodities. They don't look at us as humans. And it is really alarming that when we go to other continents, we are looked at as things, but even when we come back home to our own continents, we looked at as things by our leaders. That's really alarming. That's why we stand when a young man asks, why are you being corrupt? Why is all the money embezzled after selling the gold? That one is subjected to torture, is subjected to illegal detention, persecution. That in Uganda, we all in Africa today, we do not have we do not have prostitution anymore. There's no prostitution, there's no transparency. It is only persecution that has taken over the courtrooms. Because if you ask why, then you must be abducted at a certain time, or you are in the night taken away from your family. If your family tries to ask why, it's either your wife is going to be raped, it's either your kids are going to see you being disgraced in front of them. There is no respect. But we used to think now that we are being led by our African brothers, some things were going to be better off. To my surprise, there is nothing better. We are still suffering. Actually, we are suffering more before, because the other time we used to know that yes, we are going to suffer, but at least we are going to have something. We're going to have some food. We are going to have some clothes. You cannot provide even medical care. But who is doing this to us? Our fellow black leaders, the so-called leaders. I hate you guys. From Northern Africa, Western Africa, Southern Africa, Central Africa, Eastern, Western, it is still the same thing. Puti kekani. It is still this. We are all submitted to terrible rule. Good evening. How are you? Dominator, South Africa. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? So, and I've taken up this because I haven't seen a lot of our fellow, young men and women taking this serious. In other words, the governments have tried to divert us to what is important and subjected us to divert us to things that don't really make sense. That is why you find some people, they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. You ask them, what do you think? How do you see the situation in your country? They have nothing to talk about it. They tell you, no, I'm out of politics. But he does not know that everything that you do, everything that we do in life resolved around politics. So the state of politics in your country, whether you're from South Africa, whether you're from Western Africa, whether you're from Northern Africa, it rotates how the politics are being played. Some people there's a common word they learned. They don't even know the definition of that word. Politics is a data game. Who told you that? Who told you that politics is justified as a data game? There's nothing like that. When politicians become dirty, it does not necessarily define politics as a dirty game. That means you chose wrong people. Politics can never be a dirty game because it is a responsibility to take care of the rest. In other words, the rest of the people in your country have entrusted you with all the resources, 100%. The gold, the diamond, the tourism, everything. Now, on top of that, they give you taxes. The taxes that you are collecting, they are all entrusted with you. What are you going to make sure that these people that actually collect these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cents, are you going to make sure that at the end of the day, they get something colorful out of it? All the other resources that they tries to deal with? Because you're still selling the same resources to the Europeans. But my question is, when the Europeans were here before, they brought us education that was functioning properly. They may have been bad, worse, but the education was functioning properly. The road system was functioning properly. the transport network was functioning properly, 100%. If there is any problem with the train, would be fixed in the time. But now, a train would take time because they have to bring spare from Europe and now that, to fix. But now, everything that has to fix a road is available, but they won't fix a road. Those are our African leaders, our fellow black leaders. They have failed us. At times, they make us, like I fight a lot with my brain and be like, was really the European rule far better than this? Because at least those people, when they came, they introduced hospitals, medical care, and it was functioning properly. They would take the gold, the mine. You're still selling the same things. There is nothing that is being refined here or processed in Africa. It is taken to Europe and brought back as finished good and have to pay a lot. We give you all the resources, we give you all the taxes, but you cannot even build hospitals. You might have failed to provide shelter, you might have failed to provide, but at least healthcare. That is the least any government would give to its citizens, a functioning healthcare system. Now, let's leave that would be free to the people. You look at another thing called, let's say another services that we pay for, let's say licensing and all that. Someone has paid for the license, but still they cannot acquire what they have paid for. It is delayed because there is corruption, because there is embezzlement. Someone walks away with the whole project, a whole school. Bongio Mjola, how are you? Someone is given money for a whole school, a full school, and walks away with the money of a school or a bridge. And now a period of 10 years, because this money has been given out by the parliament or whichever sector to build a bridge, someone goes away with the money, and now a period of 10 years, now that is a whole generation that has been crippled because of one person that is always paid fully. Because some of these people are paid, the vehicle is paid for, they pay for insurance, they pay for everything, they pay for someone that is working at their home, the nannies, but at the end of the day, these people are not satisfied. They are greedy enough to continue. And steal the money. AI artificial intelligence. Can you articulate your long-term vision for this specific project? I feel like we need to awaken more of the young people because our great-grandfathers did their part. They took what they took away from the Europeans, they gave it to the black, to the Africans. Let me not make it black, but to the Africans. If you accept that you are an African, it was handed to we, the Africans. But everyone that we select to be in charge ends up becoming, I don't know whether they're just greedy. I don't know whether there is a problem. But we shall get to the end of this. And at one time T, we shall enjoy the fruits of success.